Hi everyone, welcome back to the podcast. Today I'm diving deep into something that touches every single part of our lives: abundance. So, what is abundance, right? Abundance is not just money, but it's an energy. It's an energy of love, ideas, support, creativity, truth. Because real abundance, it's not just about how much you have, it's about how much you let flow. And this is something, I've actually read, studied, been trained in for a very long time. I would say almost 10 years. But it's funny that it's taken me so long to wrap my head around this concept that abundance is truly not what we hold on to or what we hold, what we collect, but it's actually that amazing flow that happens. That's and how much we trust in that flow. That's what abundance is, right? And if you look at the energy of Lakshmi, goddess Lakshmi, that's what her energy is all about. So the story that goes with goddess Lakshmi is that she is very chanchal, right? Chanchal is a word that basically means restless, I think, or not in a negative connotation, but more like she's more creative or like more curious, right? And so curiosity basically, or like that movement or that flow basically makes her go from here every she keeps hopping, right? And they say that the more you let her flow, the more she comes to you, right? And it's a very interesting concept, isn't it? Because we think that, oh my god, if we let it flow, how will she come more? But that's the energy of abundance. And if you actually hold on to her, and if you kind of keep accumulating without letting it flow, it rots, right? And so this is actually an invitation to ask all of you, where are you holding back? And where are you letting life move through you? Right? So now let's start with this. Let's break this up a little bit, right? And let's focus a little bit on abundance being a flow, not a storage unit. Okay. So we've all been taught the opposite, isn't it? Like we all know that Lakshmi is always flowing, but how many of us really truly understand the concept, right? How many of us actually let it flow, right? Without tearing our hearts out, right? We mostly, all of us, the concept of money, the concept of abundance, right? Even like love, right? You want to hold more, you want to keep more, right? You want to wait for the right time, right? When I have that much money, then I will spend, when I have. And I am kind of talking about money and abundance, but when I'm referring to abundance, it's so much more, right? It's your knowledge, right? Um it's your time, right? So many of you, we don't have time, we don't have time, we don't have time, or so many of you, just keep holding on to all the information and you don't want to share it because you look for the right time, and only then will I tell someone. And in that, you end up losing your own sheen, you end up losing your own shine, right? You don't share that idea, you don't post it, right? For people, content creators, business folks, so many ideas are generating, we are giving birth to so many ideas every single moment of our lives, but we don't share, right? We don't give too much love. Instead we actually say in Hindi, right, like ज़्यादा प्यार करेंगे तो बिगड़ जाएंगे, right? Which means like if we smother them with love, they'll get spoiled, whoever those they are, right? Generally it's said about children, right? So we wait until we're sure, isn't it? and we freeze, we grip, we delay the flow, right? I remember my father used to say, saving money for a rainy day, right? And are you seeing, guys, how we keep saving for a rainy day and then we end up creating a rainy day? Because our energies are completely focused on that one disaster that's about to come. And we so called, save all the money for that, and then we create that disaster because all the money is for the disaster. You see how that works? So here's the truth: everything in nature thrives through movement. Yeah? Water flows and nourishes, but when it stagnates, it breeds diseases, isn't it? All the mosquitoes, right? In stagnant water. Money flows through spending, giving, investing, right? And when it's hoarded, it loses its value, right? Inflation, guys, right? The same amount of money in your bank account, which probably had a value of 10 lakh rupees, say, right, 10 years ago. Now it's probably 5 lakhs. I don't know. I mean, I don't know exactly, but 10% of inflation is happening every year. You all know that, right? And creativity flows when expressed, right? And when suppressed, what happens? What happens when you suppress your creativity? It turns into frustration, self doubt, and dis-ease. It turns into a disease in your body. Because your prana, right? Prana is that chi in your body, right? In that energy flow that's happening in your body. When there is a block in your meridians, then what happens? Then that leads to a disease. And the same goes for your gifts, your truth, your heart. The moment you stop expressing them, something inside you starts to feel dead. It starts to rot. You feel stuck. Yeah. And you'll probably notice, right? Every time you share ideas, sometimes what do you feel? What's the fear? I'm going to talk about that next. But we have this fear of, if we tell them this, then they'll be more successful than us. Folks, that's a lie. The more you share, and again, when I say share, I don't mean you give away your wealth. Okay? I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is that if you have enough money, obviously when you're sharing, when you're giving, when you're helping someone, you only give that much, the amount that you are anyway willing to lose. Okay? Because even if that money goes, the universe actually gets you much more back, maybe not from that source, from another source, but you should be you should be willing to give in that way. Yeah, so that's the money. That's even as simple as buying vegetables and not haggling, and giving the money whatever you feel is is whatever is being asked for, because that's also holding on to money, right? You're saving 2 rupees, you're saving some dollars, and that's not going to help you, right? So that flow means not doubting, spending with the trust that money many folds will return. And that's an inner work, folks. It's not something that we've learned growing up. Instead, we've only learned very simple non-energetic basics that you give and you lose. And that's not how the universe works. That's not how the universal laws work. Instead, when you give from a full heart, you get so much back, that you don't even, like, you can't even expect that return is what you get back, right? So now, moving on to the scarcity lie that we all kind of dwell in day and night. We are programmed with this deep lie that there is not enough. Yeah, that there is a limited pie, isn't it? Like if I imagine a pizza, um in front of you has 10 pieces, right? So if you give away 3 pieces, 7 pieces are left, then you give away 5 pieces, then whatever is left, and then so basically it's getting, like, the pieces are going away, and your food is getting um smaller and smaller, the share of that food, right? That's what you feel. And that's what you feel about money, that's what you feel about love, that's what you feel about creativity. That if I give away this much, then I will be left with nothing, right? So not enough money, not enough time, not enough love, not enough room for me to shine. And so we keep waiting. We save our best ideas, we hold back our truth, we only give when we feel we have enough. Yeah. But abundance isn't created from hoarding, it's created from trusting, from sharing while you're still becoming, from giving when you don't yet have it all together, from letting people see you mid process. Because guess what? Abundance grows in spaces where energy is moving, not where it's being rationed. Have you seen people who hoard information, hoard ideas? They are the ones actually who end up very bitter. Neither do they share their ideas, nor do they apply it on their own selves, right? So there is this um concoction of, like, toxic ego, and I don't know, so many things that keeps going on within them, and that actually ends up being the worst case scenario for themselves. I don't know if it makes sense, but people who hoard information, who don't share, who hoard money, actually end up in such negative situations that they feel, you feel sorry for them in the end, right? Haven't you heard of stories of people hoarding money, not sharing, living like a miser, and then they end up, dying a miserable life with all their money with them, right? And no one else with them, right? A lot of cultural context there, and then a lot of people who, even like if you talk about intellectual ideas, they just had so many ideas, they didn't share it, and then again they kind of died in the middle of their experiment or something like that. I'm kind of making it up, but if why does that happen? Because we feel like if we share, someone else will shine, and I will not be given the due respect. And what about me? It's you're still thinking from somewhere that if my ideas goes to someone and they share it and they become a millionaire, what about me? It's always about the lack mentality. Yeah. Because sharing, but the truth is that sharing isn't just generous, it's magnetic. Now let's talk about the energy. When you share, you become a vessel. Folks, nobody tells us this. We are always told the lack story, the lack narrative. And that keeps us in the lack. That makes us horrible human beings. That makes us not help. That makes us not share. But actually, sharing makes you a vessel. You open a loop that the universe rushes to complete. I read this somewhere that when you help someone, or when you are supporting someone, and actually I read it 10 years ago, when I was taking care of my grandmother, and I had no clue. I was this, like a person who had just started a business, a person who had no clue about money, how to pay bills, how to make money. And I had this old, 80-year-old woman who was bedridden, and I had to take care of her. So that means medical bills, that means taking, having help, that means, taking care of her tests, everything. And if there was an emergency, I had no clue, folks. I had no clue how I was going to take care of everything, right? But I read someone, I think Tony Robbins had said this, or I don't know if he took it from somewhere, I don't know. But that when you help someone, right, or when you support someone, God or the universe gives you the resources to do that. And I'm a living example of that. Because when you give, more flows through you. Not because you earned it, but because you made space. Yeah. Now think of the artist who posts their work before it's perfect and lands a client. Yeah. The coach who shares their truth even in pain and builds deeper trust. The healer who gives when they're still healing. Yeah. And becomes a channel for even greater light for others, right? We keep thinking, let me wait till I'm ready. But God, that energy, that spirit is saying, the moment you pour, you refill. You have the notion that when I give from my cup, what the hell, my cup will stay empty. No. Energy, God, universe, they will reward you. They will refill your cup. You don't run out by giving, you run dry by not flowing. Yeah. Now let's go a little deeper as to why we don't share, right? Though I kind of touched upon it, but there is that shadow part, right? Why do we wait to share? Because of fear of judgment, right? Fear of not being enough. Yeah. Like, you must have heard, oh, first you look at yourself, and the biggest lie is, again, this is in Hindi where they say that bhuke pet puja nahi hoti. So, like, if you are hungry, if you're going hungry, if you are, you haven't eaten, then how will you pray, right? How will you focus on God? Because you're focused on your basic necessities. But that's a lie. Because first you need to be energetically aligned, right? And only then, and by being energetically aligned, you can actually bring in the abundance, the flow in your life, right? So you can make that adjustments based on, again, there are so many tools out there, right? Like I've keep mentioning it again and again: meditation, EFT, so many tools where you can clear those energy tracks, energy meridians in your body. And the moment that starts flowing, abundance, food, like food and money, and all of that are your basic necessities, folks. We can all fulfill those, and then we move forward to sharing, to helping, to spreading our ideas out there, our creativity out there, right? Then we have fear of losing what little we have. Yeah. Fear of being seen too soon. Yeah. And underneath it all, shame. Shame that says I have to be perfect to be worthy. you know I have to be fully healed to be helpful. I have to be rich before I can talk about abundance. So here's the truth: you can lead from the middle of your mess. You can give while you're still becoming. You can teach while you're still learning. Yeah. And your enoughness isn't in your finish line, it's in your willingness to show up now. Yeah. So here's your invitation. Where are you holding? Is it in your voice? Is it your creativity, your love, your support, your story? Where are you waiting to be more before you can give? And what would happen if you opened that floodgate just a little? Because when you share, you not only do, you know, you not only heal, but you also help others heal, right? And when you speak, you free someone else to speak too. And when you give, you multiply what's possible in the field. Yeah. Like for example, look at this podcast, right? I started it before I felt ready. Yeah, and there are days when I think yesterday or day before, I think spoke about imperfection. And that day I was feeling super imperfect, And in the middle of my imperfection, I made a podcast on imperfection. Yeah. Because I know that, this will reach people and it will, inspire them in some way, shape, or form. Yeah. Because truth is magnetic. Yeah, your rawness is the light that people are looking for. And it's not just people, your own light from within, once it comes out, more of it will flow through you. Your story, as it is already a mirror for someone else. Yeah. So don't wait until you figured it all out, because there's someone out there who needs you exactly as you are now. Yeah. So let's do a short reflection. Close your eyes if you can. Place one hand on your heart, one on your belly. Take a deep breath in and exhale slowly. And ask yourself, where am I holding back? Where am I being called to pour but I'm waiting? What truth or gift do I carry that wants to be shared? And now whisper to yourself, I trust that what I give multiplies. I trust that what I share becomes sacred. I trust that there is more where that came from. Yeah, now take a deep breath in and open your eyes. And now, folks, remember this: you are not here to store, you are here to circulate. You're here not to wait, but you're here to create. You're not here to rot in silence. You are here to rise in truth. So give, share, express, offer your medicine, offer that beautiful energy of yours, and let abundance flow through you endlessly, powerfully, naturally. Until next time, stay open, stay generous, stay magical. Signing off, Anisha Dutt from Zaria Healings.